Project Bedrock. If that name rings a bell, then you might be familiar with the post that I recently put on my YouTube channel community page. If you're unfamiliar with Project Bedrock is, or was, an SMP. If you've been a fan of the channel, then you probably already know what I'm about to tell you. I was the original creator of the Project Bedrock. So, that begs the question, why did I start Project Bedrock? I think in order for you to understand, we need to go back in time a bit. Just like a lot of content creators, I've been playing Minecraft for some time. In all the years that I've been playing this game, I've become a fan of so many different influencers. Just like most Minecraft players, Hermitcraft quickly became a loved SMP that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. I loved watching the hermits interact and how much fun they would have with each other. I wanted to make a group that I could share the same types of moments with. Fun, jokes, challenges, laughter. After hanging out in Exumavoid's livestream, I heard him say these words.
Make your own Hermitcraft.
After this, I knew that this was a sign that I needed to stoke the fire on something great. So recruitment began. Several weeks went by as I continued recruiting, reviewing channels, and searching for the best candidates for the team. Once we felt like we had a perfect starting group, then on April 24th, 2022, we decided to launch the very first season of the Project Bedrock. Things went off without a hitch, or at least we thought so in the moment. But it wouldn't be long before I realized just how hard not only starting an SMP, but running one would be as well. Not even a week in, we ran into several members not communicating their plans and playing like they were inside of a single player world. From speedrunning the world and killing the Ender Dragon all by themselves, to going alone and starting the marketplace in the Nether Hub where they decided that it should be, instead of it being a group decision, the group did their best to try and play along with it and filled out the marketplace as best as they could. But there was a problem that was splitting the members apart, and it wasn't one that anybody would see coming. This problem was a difference in content creation. You see, when we started Season 1, we were all very naive going into it as we still had so much to learn. We didn't quite realize the huge difference in timing between live streamers and video producers. This quickly led to animosity between members due to the timing differences. When the video producers were playing, everything seemed great, but when the video producers were editing, the server appeared dead. During the first few episodes into the season, the streamers were able to grind at a much faster rate and advanced in the world at a much faster rate than the video producers due to not having to spend hours upon hours editing. This, on top of one of the members which was a streamer that speedran the world and never played again after he speedran it, built up even more animosity and eventually led to the two streamers breaking off and leaving Project Bedrock. During this time, there was no hard feelings, but the remaining members decided that it was best to no longer have streamer-only members to prevent this from happening again in the future. Season 1 trickled on with the remaining members, slowly adding a few members here and there over the duration of the season, until the season finally concluded. Over the duration of Season 1, we quickly learned with adding members here and there that everybody wants to be a content creator, but a lot of people don't truly realize how much work goes into putting out this type of content. We found so many members that we all thought would make such a great fit to the team and had so much potential to do great, but they either didn't have the time to devote to it or they didn't want to put the effort in. During this period, we also had a few members that were amazing content creators, very talented, but things popped up in their lives and they had to put YouTube on the back burner. Throughout all the turmoil that happened in Season 1, there was a few members that stayed true. These few members were promoted to admins from that point forward. Promoting these members, it was clear that everybody ranked the same in the server. However, these members were a select few that were trusted with running things all behind the scenes. Tasks like updating the server when an update come out, or restarting the server if any crashes were to occur. And of course, handling issues if a member had a problem with anything with the server. Running the server by myself was a lot, especially when I started building my own add-ons for the server. Bringing these trusted members on board didn't only make it easier for me, but it was mandatory for our success, especially with running an in-house server at my residence. So that begs the question, if these few people that were selected for admins made it easier, why didn't I just enlist the entire team to help? And that's a good question. And I'll answer that by saying these trusted members not only had access to remote into the server that was on my personal network in my house, but also had access to things such as my IP address, website logins, and more. I ran the Project Bedrock like a business, trying to identify future problems before they occurred. The more hands in the cookie jar, the more likely crumbs are to spread. Then ants come in, and the next thing you know, the entire colony has the crumbs. Things towards the end of Season 1 seemed pretty easy going. A little before the season end, we started having more people come on board for the start of season 2, finalizing members, seed choice, and such, and finally launched the start of season 2, which pretty much went off without a hitch. Aside from having a few members that never ended up making content, we felt like we had a really good team to set us up for season 2 until a few weeks in. Then, a huge problem arose. We were notified by 3 of our members that they were leaving to join another SMP after being invited from our server. A 4th member followed to the SMP due to being close friends with 1 out of the 3 that were invited. After these members left Project Bedrock, it was pretty quiet on the server. To make matters even worse, these 4 members were some of the most active content creators on the server, with one of them being a newly added admin to the Project Bedrock server. Needless to say, this made for a pretty big adjustment that needed to happen mid-season, so we decided to wait a month before bringing on any new members onto the SMP. During the time that a lot of this was happening, I have just recently started a new job in my real life, transitioning from a full-time content creator back to a part-time content creator, and I have recently ended up coming down with the flu, so needless to say I haven't been around the server a ton. At this point, the future of the server and a lot of animosity has been brought up in our private Discord server due to the server being slow. Throughout the duration of this, we had multiple meetings with how to fix these issues. Within the final meeting that we held, I stepped down as the owner of Project Bedrock. But why? Why would I step down for something that I created? Something that was wonderful? Something that I have loved? Well, I stepped down because it was the best thing to do. You see, during these meetings, we had a member that was upset due to them being declined as an admin. They were declined for 2 reasons. Firstly, we didn't have a need for a 5th admin, and secondly, they kept showing up to the meetings completely wasted, slurring their words, and on top of that, being very rude and disrespectful. This particular member had an issue with the server being a PG server, constantly telling us that we should be an adult-rated server, and bringing up the rules that we should allow streamer-only content creators once again, as this person, plus several of their friends, were streamer-only content creators before being accepted onto the Project Bedrock server. After mid-season, during Season 1, we implemented the rule that we would not be accepting content creators that were only streamers anymore, as previously mentioned. Which means, when these members were accepted into the Project Bedrock server, they not only read through the rules, but they also accepted to those rules, which explicitly stated that they were to make Project Bedrock video content on YouTube as per a condition to joining the SMP. These members were advised, along with all of the other members, that streaming was perfectly okay on the server as long as you were a member, and being a member meant, well, you had to make video content. Now, like a lot of SMPs, making video content was a requirement, but there really wasn't a hard requirement. We're not about to kick somebody off just because they haven't posted a video in a month. Although, of course, for the sake of the server, it would be nice to see a lot more people post videos more frequently than a month, but I do also understand that we all have lives, and that, well, posting videos might not always be at the center of them, if it ever. The biggest thing that I really asked for when starting this SMP was just to be part of the server. If you are going to have some type of extended absence, just let us know. Don't leave us hanging. I've always considered myself a pretty easygoing guy, and I'd like to think that most of the members were easygoing. So at this point, we circled back to not only people that don't want to put effort into editing to make a video, but also wanting to change the rules that they accepted to when they were onboarded onto the Project Bedrock server. Furthermore, the new admin that moved to the other SMP added their 2 cents as to why we should allow streamer-only members onto the server. This admin was planned to be removed from the server and not be part of the chat or the meeting, as they were no longer part of the Project Bedrock SMP. But due to my leave of absence and me being the only one that could take them off of the Discord server, this did not quite happen, and I do take full responsibility for this. After this, a 3rd member joined in where they wanted streamer-only members added, and it's worth mentioning that none of these people speaking up were around during Season 1 whenever this happened. Most of these members bringing up the streaming issues were previous streamers only before joining Project Bedrock and did not want to put in the time to making videos. They brought up the reason why they didn't make videos, which was because no one else was on the server making content, which does seem to go against the grain for me, especially since there was many videos from many of the Project Bedrock members months before these creators were voicing their dissatisfaction. But yet, even when the server was more lively and there was a lot of members on, these members still didn't release any videos. With that being said, if you're going to be part of the problem, you should also be part of the solution. My thoughts brought into the conversation included, if we did let streamer-only members in once again, what happens when all members decide to only stream? What happens to the Project Bedrock presence on YouTube? What happens to the SMP if nobody wants to put effort in? Should we try something again and again anytime a new member comes on board, knowing that it doesn't work just because they weren't around when the whole thing went to hell when we tried it the first time? Isn't that the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over, hoping for a new result? The replies that I got to this was the exact reason why I stepped down. I was called a dictator, I was called toxic, chats were screenshot and sent back and forth to the other SMP, and it all got to be a really bad situation instead of just having a group of friends, playing together, enjoying a game that we love. Then I was urged by several of these members to just keep it out of the public. You know, that's shady to me. You guys have made my channel. I literally would not be here if it wasn't for each and every one of you. So no, if you guys have a ton of questions due to something internal that happened, I'm not going to leave you hanging, no matter how mad anybody gets. Especially whenever it's a destruction to such a large community, something that a lot of fans really grew to love and enjoy. The way I see it, I had two options. I could have stepped down when almost half of the members were displeased, and they could carry on with Project Bedrock without me being the owner. My other option was to remove these two members that were the catalyst to the problems, which would have resulted in pretty much the same outcome. You see, these members were all close friends before they invited their friends onto the server, so it was obvious. If this one person that was always intoxicated and extremely rude went, the rest would follow him. No matter which I choose, it was a lose-lose situation. I do hate the way that things turned out, and I did used to consider all of these members my friends, really close friends, and it is a shame because these are friends that I've lost. And in the case of the members that ended up following them over there that was not involved in all of this, hopefully we can still be friends, if not now, in the future. However, to the ones that were very rude, and the ones that went behind my back, there is no possibility of our friendship being mended. Because, well, if you're a friend, you don't do what you did. As I said, it was really a lose-lose situation, and I do hate the way that things turned out. But this situation has really showed me the true color of some of these members with how they interacted after the fact. At the end of the day, I know that I did the best that I could do with the situation that I was presented with, and I truly have no regrets with it. If it were to happen again, I would handle it the exact same way. I've learned in life that you have to go with what you believe is right, and I will never sacrifice my honesty and integrity to please anybody. I will lose every single subscriber I have before I do. The fact of the matter is, if my friends call me toxic, curse at me, call me a dictator, send screenshots trying to get people against you, etc., then why in the hell would I have enemies? I wouldn't need any enemies with friends like that. I have learned in life that life is way too short to deal with fake people. So as far as all of these members go, I truly wish you the best with whatever endeavors you take in the future, and I do genuinely mean that. Even to the ones that have done me or Project Bedrock wrong. And I do genuinely mean that. So with that being said, where does this leave Project Bedrock? Well, that's a good question. As of right now, the membership list is myself and maybe a member or two. We did have some additional members leave just because they wanted to keep making content on their channel, that way their YouTube channel did not die. And because the Project Bedrock server is currently without members, it is more than understandable for them to find another place to make content. I'm trying to take this time to figure out what's best for my channel, and of course what you guys think I should do as well. And that's the reason why you have probably noticed several polls that I've posted. A couple days after I stepped down, all remaining members left the private Project Discord server and started discussing plans in a private Discord after removing me from the private channels and also messaging in group messages excluding me. With me stepping down, I assumed that they would carry on with the Project Bedrock. I sent them a world file, that way nobody lost any of the hard work that they did. Because, after all, even though I started Project Bedrock, it was all of us that really built it up to be what it is today. However, they have since decided to rebrand to another name and drop the Project Bedrock name. After I learned of this, I sent them a message since they decided they weren't using the Project Bedrock name anymore. So I requested that they no longer use the Project Bedrock name in case I decided to rebuild the SMP once again. At this point, it really is all up in the air. I would hate to rebuild the Project Bedrock server up again with some fantastic new members, only to have another SMP come and snipe the members from the Project Bedrock server again. So I'm just taking the time to really see if that's what I want to do, and if I want to go through that again. I do still really want to finish up my city, as I have put in a tremendous amount of work into it, and I still have a ton to do, but at the same time I haven't really wanted to play a single player world much either. As far as my channel goes, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I just have quite a bit of figuring out to do with the content that I'll be making for you guys. I do know that any SMP is more or less one of the least performing videos that you can make on YouTube, However, I believe that it is also one of the most enjoyable for people just to lay back and relax and watch. So at this point, I'm just looking at all my options. Should I start the Project Bedrock SMP again? Should I no longer run an SMP and just join an SMP? That way I don't have to focus on the admin side of things and I can really just sit back and create content. And if I do join another SMP, should it be on Bedrock or should I just go back to Java? That way I have a lot more tools to make better content for the SMP. Should I go back to making tutorial videos and simple shorts where I can just grind out a ton of views, exploding the growth rate of my channel? It's just something that I really have to figure out with time, unfortunately. And yes, of course, recommendations are welcome from you guys as well. With that being said, I'm confident that time and guidance will guide my channel back to where it needs to be. From the bottom of my heart, I do apologize to you guys. I know a lot of my fans have been fans of not only my channel, but also a lot of the Project Bedrock channels as well. And I know that this is a real bummer for you as well. And for that, I do apologize for what has happened. As of the time of recording this, I'm unfamiliar with what name they have chosen for their new SMP. If I do ever find out the name of that, I will drop that in a pinned comment below this video. That way you guys are able to follow all of the other members and still be able to enjoy watching these members that have since left the Project Bedrock server. With that being said, I do really look forward to the future because with every negative thing that happens, it is an opportunity to learn, and with an opportunity to learn, there's an opportunity for growth. I am very optimistic for the future and the mysteries that it might hold. If there's one thing that I have learned in life, perception is everything. Just because you're dealing with a negative moment does not mean that you cannot find positives inside of that negative moment. Those positives will help you grow, help you get over the hurdles that have knocked you down, and help you continue moving forwards. With all that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.